The shape from Still Wakes the Deep is an entity that defies classification and understanding. It has no true name. The community of players and observers settled on the shape as a convenient moniker. The choice of name evokes John Carpenter's The Thing and hints at the amorphous terror that lies beneath the North Sea. The shape's first known stirrings occurred on December 26, 1975, when the Beira D oil rig's drilling operation struck an inexplicable blockage deep beneath the sea. Despite warning signs and mechanical resistance, the crew persisted. Their boss, Rennick, ordered the drill to push through. In that moment, the shape awoke and altered the fate of every soul aboard the rig. At first, the rig shuddered violently. Bodies and equipment were cast overboard into the dark water. Then, beneath the platform, a fleshy spiral of tendrils and luminescent blue light emerged. It pulsed with an otherworldly rhythm, as if the shape itself were breathing. Crew members described an oppressive presence that filled every corridor and engine room. A series of bulbous mounds of organic tissue sprouted through the rig's infrastructure, anchoring the shape's influence in the metal and concrete of the platform. Within hours, the initial tremor gave way to a creeping infestation. The shape exuded a viscous oil that clung to clothing and skin. Those who came into contact with the substance found themselves overcome by nausea and disorientation. Some reported visions of loved ones calling out to them from the shadows. Others heard the echo of distant voices and the pounding of phantom heartbeats. These hallucinations lured the afflicted into isolated compartments, where the shape's parasitic infection took hold. Several crew members underwent grotesque transformations. Gibbo's limbs elongated into sinewy tendrils. Muir's face fractured into a mass of bioluminescent veins. Trotz, Raffs, Rennick, and Adair all became nightmarish extensions of the shape's will. Though their bodies were twisted beyond recognition, small fragments of their humanity persisted. They spoke in garbled tones, sometimes begging for release, sometimes issuing orders in voices not their own. In other cases, stationary masses of infected flesh, such as those enveloping Roper and O'Connor, lay dormant until provoked, then sprang to life with deadly force. The heart of the infestation was the main drill itself. The shape grew along its length, merging oil-slicked flesh with hydraulic pistons and steel joints. It formed a grotesque hybrid of living tissue and machinery. The drill's rotation became an ominous heartbeat that echoed through the rig's corridors. Cameron McCleary, the electrician whose arrival had set these events in motion, realized that the shape's growth was unstoppable. He witnessed entire sections of the platform consumed, corridors sealed off by pulsing walls of flesh, and light fixtures absorbed into the organism's ever-expanding mass. As the rig's structural integrity deteriorated, the survivors Kaz, Finlay, Brody, and a handful of others made their desperate bid for escape. They fought through narrow passageways lined with dripping tendrils and past hulking forms of infected crew. The shape's abilities became ever more apparent. It moved with inhuman speed, blocking hallways almost before they could be entered. It projected illusions of home and family, exploiting the survivors' most vulnerable memories. And where it could not pursue directly, it sent tendrils and pseudopods to snatch at ankles or drag bodies into the darkness. Attempts to call for rescue only summoned further horror. A helicopter sent to evacuate the crew was brought down by an unseen force. Rotor blades were shredded by thick strands of the shape's biomass that shot skyward from the rig. The crash ignited a fire that raged through the helipad, claiming additional lives and sealing the survivors' doom. In the final hours, the rig was a labyrinth of writhing flesh and steel. Brody sacrificed himself to stabilize a failing support column. Finlay, driven mad by grief, attempted to detonate explosives but was crushed by falling machinery. Only Kaz remained. He understood that the shape could not be contained. He would have to destroy the rig and himself to prevent the creature from reaching the mainland. Steeling his resolve, He climbed into the heart of the main drill, where the shape's core glowed with an unearthly blue light. He dropped a lit flare into a pool of oil beneath the drill. The resulting explosion consumed the platform in a towering inferno. The shape's fate was left uncertain. The explosion should have destroyed both rig and organism. Yet later, Kaz awoke in his home beside his wife, Suze. He opened his bedroom door and found himself staring into the endless expanse of the North Sea. No wreckage, no home, only the cold, dark water stretching into infinity. Whether this was a final hallucination, a lingering effect of the shape's power, or proof that the entity had survived, remains unknown. The shape's true nature is a mystery. It appears amorphous in protein, an amalgam of glowing flesh and tendrils that iridesce with oil and light. Beneath the rigot's core radiates a bright blue luminescence, reminiscent of deep-sea organisms that use bioluminescence for offense, defense, and communication. This suggests an origin in the abyssal depths, yet no geological or biological evidence explains its presence beneath the North Sea. Investigations have speculated that the shape may be parasitic in origin. It infects living tissue through contact with oil, spreading rapidly until the host organism is fully under its control. Those infected gain enhanced hearing and sensitivity to sound. Some report hearing the heartbeat of nearby survivors or the creaking of the rig's structure with unnerving clarity. The shape itself exhibits incredible speed or teleportation-like movement. It can appear and vanish in an instant, closing distance with impossible haste. Visual and auditory hallucinations form another facet of the shape's arsenal. Survivors describe memories of loved ones, comforting and familiar, only to be replaced by terror as the memory distorts. These hallucinations serve to disorient and isolate victims, making them easy prey for the shape's parasitic infection. In the absence of definitive evidence, theories about the shape's motives abound. Was it defending itself against the rig's drilling? Or did it intend to overrun the structure as a staging ground for further spread? Its destruction of the evacuation helicopters suggests no desire to reach the mainland, at least not at that time. Yet, if the shape survived the explosion, its potential for devastation remains limitless.